Hey, hi everyone. This is Ranmay here on your show Coffee with Experts. Today we have Jesse Perreault, who is the CEO and partner at Soap Media with us. Hi, Jesse. Welcome to our show.
Hey, Ranmay, thanks for having me.
Great. Jesse, before we move any forward, I would like to introduce yourself, talk a bit about your journey and what Soap Media is all about, and then we'll take it forward from there.
Absolutely. Soap Media has been around for 12 plus years. A lot of our growth as an agency has been primarily probably in the last 4 or 5 years. We're family owned and operated. I've worked with my wife for a very long time in the business. My business partner is my father-in-law. So I am part owner of Soap Media, and we've grown it. We primarily help companies in North America, and that's fixing their foundations, which is typically a website or some sort of form of converting traffic, and then figuring out the right channels for said company to get the business they need. That's a little bit about me. I have a background in the space probably for a little over a decade at this point. I started my own businesses when I was a kid. Some failed, some succeeded more than others. Did a lot of different things. I was in the insurance industry for a bit, but it always ended up coming back to marketing, specifically digital marketing.
Great. Yeah, Jesse, as the CEO and partner at Soap Media, you have extensive experience in leveraging tech to analyze and grow businesses. And from that perspective, how do you see these advancements in digital marketing, such as data analysis, machine learning, now AI coming to the fore, and has transformed the industry? And how do you incorporate these innovations into your strategies?
Yeah, it's a good question. I would say the space as a whole, we're very fortunate in digital marketing is that
Yeah.
not I don't have anything wrong with traditional marketing, but we have leverage with clients. As Soap Media, we have a philosophy where we try to have half of our growth every year come from existing clients. So naturally, the only way to do that is for our clients to see us as a worthwhile investment. If our clients are growing, we're going to grow. Data becomes a big part of that puzzle. So at the core of what we do is obviously tracking. So through Google Tag Manager, we get all the tracking set up to track the form fills and whatever it may be. So once we have that piece of the puzzle, especially with paid advertising, any sort of ad network, you need to communicate to whether it's Meta ads or Google ads, what a conversion looks like. So that's core to what we do. Obviously, having that ability allows the machine learning to go out and optimize towards those goals. So we get a lot of businesses reach out to us and they're like, I did Google ads, it didn't work. And then I asked them, did you have the tracking set up? And they're like, I don't know. Like I run a HVAC company. I don't know. And then we take a look and sure enough, they didn't have tracking, and they're trying to leverage machine learning and smart bidding strategies, but they're not telling the platform what a conversion actually looks like. So they're failing to communicate effectively to the paid advertising platform. So that's just one means. Also notice with data like GA4, Google Analytics 4, for instance, it's not doing the work for us marketers at this point in time, but just the machine learning behind that to say things like 49.2% of your last touch point was organic search or something like that. So I find that's going to be a transition to get used to is GA4, Google Analytics 4 to be a catalyst for change, whether we identify a problem or a solution with it, we're getting more and more insights from analytics.
Yeah. Talking about tools and technology, there has been an increasing reliance over all these years on tech and automation and marketing. And amongst all of this, how do you strike a balance between utilizing these tools and maintaining a personal touch in your client interactions? And how do you ensure that the human element still remains central to your approach in building this business?
Yeah, I think with software automation, AI, a lot of buzzwords thrown around. I think Neil Patel was talking at I can't remember what it was, the Rio event there. And they're talking about faceless companies, and people are getting sick of faceless companies, and AI is going to be very effective, and it's growing to have more involvement in what we do, but we're not reliant solely on that. And I think it always comes down, humans work with humans, right? Like, yes, companies work with companies, but we always remember how someone makes us feel. And if everything's numbers and mathematics, typically not going to get that differentiator. So what we do here is we use software, we use artificial intelligence in various forms. But at the end of the day, it comes down to communicating effectively with the clients and also understanding them, their business, their goals, their pivots. If you don't do that, I feel like it's a huge challenge to grow an agency. For example's sake, I'll keep the HVAC example. A client has a product with a rebate and they want to push it. We're not going to know that unless we communicate with them. We're also not going to know their goals unless we communicate with them. So that's a really big thing is we really are customized to each client. We understand the client, what they're looking to achieve, and we make it very clear that when you have something in your business, like an operational change, or you want to push a new product or service, communicate it with us. And together we brainstorm and strategize. That goes a really long way that we found, making them feel like they're cared for and that we're listening, not just we're running your ads, we're doing your search engine optimization. Here's some numbers that you don't understand. We make sure that it's digestible and they understand everything.
Yeah, absolutely. Once you have communication of that message to your target audience is so crucial that your marketeers who are going to present your message online need to understand your message in the first place in order to further communicate it to the market as a whole, right? And
Yeah,
in fact,
exactly.
talking about communication, content becomes so important. It is often hailed as a powerful tool in driving brand awareness and establishing thought leadership. What advice do you have for businesses looking to create compelling and engaging content that resonates with the target audience and also helps Google mark up those signals to rank it higher as well?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of clients worlds aware of the chat GPT fours and such, right? So I think one of the first things I would say, because clients say all the time, why should I invest into content if I can just give AI to do it? And truthfully, we've explored the copy AIs and that use the core foundation. But we found that just relying on AI to generate it, once again, back to that human element and differentiating it, it's lackluster. We've explored starting with AI, but then going through a process of our team to then add a specific feel to it and completely changing the content, but the foundation might be written by AI. So I think that's one thing I would caution is anyone who thinks at this point, at least, that AI is going to do the trick. It's not. We really try to have a specific, we know our clients well. We know how they are. We know certain clients want to be more funny. That's their personality. So we try to capture that personality as much as possible in the content. And then obviously readability is a big component of it, making sure that it's scan based in the sense that people get the snippets they need. It's all evident there. And it's not just going to be content for the sake of having content. We got to make sure it's valuable.
Yeah, and no, it is so relevant to customer journey, which has become so much more complex with multiple touch points, channels involved. In the past conversion, it was not that simple with that buy button, which was there earlier in the day. And
Yeah.
us as marketers, our job has become all the more difficult as well because of multiple approaches that one can take in their buying journey or, in fact, decision-making journey to buy a product or service. How do you approach or how do you track these multi-channel marketing and ensure a consistent brand message is put across multiple forums and then across various platforms and devices for that matter?
Yeah, another great question. There's many times in this industry where we put a lot of time and thought into something and we've been proven wrong. And it's the simpler things that work, right? So it's always split testing. But what we found with clients, let's say we have a client sells an ERP software in the US, $100,000, like bigger ticket items that have a larger sales cycle. We find those typically are going to have a much longer customer journey with multiple touch points, whether it's on LinkedIn, Google, on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is. There's usually more touch points depending on the size of that sale. If it's $100,000, is going to typically be more. Needless to say, clients of ours, let's say a paving client might be a couple touch points, Google ads, organic, and then some remarketing on Meta or something along those lines. But at the end of it all, we start with what we think would be the most impactful. And we 9 times out of 10 end up pivoting. It might start with the first touch point is Meta advertising and we remarket on Google display and convert more that way, or it's a hybrid, or we might completely reverse it. So the data usually tells us the answer and we're always testing new things. And that's typically how we determine what that multi-channel approach looks like.
Absolutely. You touched upon SEO during our last discussion. So SEO is a multifaceted discipline that kind of continues to evolve. And with Google being the big daddy that it is, with all the algorithm updates, you're never really there while you're in your. What are some of the advanced SEO strategies and techniques that you employ to help your clients achieve higher search engine rankings and use organic traffic. Now, we do not really expect you to give all the tricks up your sleeve, but if you can put in some ideas there.
Yeah, certainly. I always give the analogy of Google's algorithm and SEO in general. It's like a puzzle, right? And the company with a more completed puzzle consistently typically wins Google. What we realize as an agency is with hundreds of a lot of little ones, whether it's alt text, we have our own priority order here at Soap Media. So we know that as long as we address the biggest pieces of the puzzle, we're going to have a more completed puzzle than others. So we find we focus on some key areas, content being core, making sure that you need the right content if you're ever going to rank, making sure their sites are user friendly, the load time is phenomenal, making sure all the metadata pieces are there, active backlink generation coming to our client site. So what we've found is we focus on core pieces of that puzzle, and our clients have the success they have as a result of that versus us trying to get too nitty gritty and spending too much time on the little things, which technically help. But if we can spend that time on a piece that's more impactful and more weighted, that's where we find we get our clients the success.
Absolutely. Generating backlinks has become so crucial, and it was not like an easy task in the day wherein it was a number game. And even keyword stuffing for that matter, just put your focus
Yeah.
keywords and then you get
Yeah.
ranked. So life has changed. Life has come a long way from where we were back. So talking about backlinks, what is your opinion on how difficult it is to get really high quality backlinks? And how would you suggest small businesses, especially who find it tough to build the domain authority and fight it with the giants in their space to build those high quality backlinks there?
Yeah, it is a challenge. And before we started recording, you mentioned some good things. And it's not just about domain authority. There's other factors to look
Yeah.
at. The backlinks, generating high quality backlinks that are relevant, low spam score, high domain authority, and all those other wonderful criteria. It is a challenge. We spent years trying to figure out the best processes to do it. And we're still learning that we have a complete outreach team. Our SEO team does that and goes out and obtains those backlinks. It might be we find 2,000 sites that we find are relevant. Then we filter that down to 500 based on the spam scores. Then we filter it down. And then once we find that, we figure out the best strategy to go out and obtain it. For small businesses, many of them can afford agencies, but some of them, right? And for the ones that can't, I usually send people to Harrow, help a reporter out, or I also ask them, do you have existing partnerships that you can leverage? If you're a flooring supplier, maybe, or you're a flooring company, maybe go to the suppliers and they're willing to include you on their website or whatever it may be. So we find there's often low hanging fruit for those small companies that can't go to an agency and have the software and the teams to get the backlinks that are relevant and high quality. Help a reporter. I've helped a lot of people out with just pointing them in that
Yeah.
direction. There's other sources where I give them a little bit of a template. They don't have the budget to work with us, but if I can help them and say, try this out, you might get interviewed by some people. And if you get a couple articles, where they're linking to you, then that's valuable. And most of the time people try it.
And then local search also becomes so crucial for these small businesses apart from citations and let's say link building. So what is your take when it comes to local search and map optimization? And what are the key factors or best practices that businesses should focus upon to improve their visibility? Because this is it has become such a cluttered market because all of a sudden they have realized the importance of online presence because of COVID, and they've become all the more particular about their presence online. So what do you suggest to your clients or to our listeners in general today?
Yeah, I think when it comes to a business profile, coming up in the map pack, I know the algorithm's slightly different. There's the review component, right? So obviously
Yeah.
reviews play a role in it. So we always encourage clients to get reviews. Naturally, in the due diligence process of anybody buying a product or service, reviews are important for conversion rates, but it's also important for that local search. We also try to get them to get their clients to reference, because there's a tagging section for a business profile for those reviews to reference. Let's say it's a DJ and they do weddings, to have a client leave the review, but mention wedding in the review if possible, so that other people typing in wedding increase the probability of that local business profile coming up. And then obviously the proximity as well. So if you have an option to choose where your address is located, you can pick it strategically. And many of our clients have expanded to multiple business profiles as they've expanded their companies. So it's another good practice we encourage to further that on the local side of things.
Great. And before we wrap this up, I'd like to ask you one final question, Jesse, about social media marketing. It has become such a key component of digital marketing overall. What are your tactics around maximizing organic visibility and engagement on social media forums? And how do you nurture those relationships through social media channels for your clients?
Yeah, so it's a good question. On the organic side, we found personally as an agency that doing organic posting on Facebook, Instagram is a challenge to show a return. That's just us. I know other agencies that they thrive at that. So we've grandfathered clients in that we manage their social media. But what we found is very impactful is meta advertising, specifically Facebook, Instagram ads. So what I've always enjoyed about the social paid advertising platform is you get like a compounding snowball effect because of social proof. So if we get a really good piece of content, you can do similar things on other platforms, Facebook, Instagram, especially, you get that compound effect because then all of a sudden you get organic reach from running ads. If it's something that, is very engaging. And we've done that where we get just as much organic reach as we do from the ad dollars for a client. It almost doubles or triples the exposure. People start sharing and it just keeps going and going. So that's one thing that we find we've done very well for clients is get a really amazing video filmed for them that gets people talking. I remember one client of ours, I guess the technical terms letterbox it, but we had the titles, See What's Replacing Asphalt. And people are like, whoa, and they just keep sharing it, right? So if you can get a really good piece of content or a couple pieces of content that have that ability to get people talking, that goes a long way.
Absolutely. And thank you for answering our questions with such patience, Jesse. I'm sure our audience would have loved it and would have benefited a lot out of it. But before we finally wrap this up, I would like to play a quick rapid fire with you. I hope you're game for it.
Yeah.
Great. What was your last Google search?
My last Google search was something related to a GoDaddy login. So I can't remember, something about delegate access, I believe.
Okay. Favorite book?
Favorite book? Oh, geez. Oh my gosh. Probably start with Why by Simon Sinek.
Okay. Let's say we have to make a movie on you. What genre would it be?
I like to think an action movie just because I like action movies, but I don't know if I have the physique these days to do it, but that's what I would like.
Okay. Are you a morning person or night person? That will help us understand about the physique part as well.
I'd say neither. I like my sleep, but if I could choose, I'd probably say a night person.
Okay. Okay. And I'm not really grilling you any further. One last one. Yeah. What is the best thing that you like about your job? Or let's say our industry in general.
I like understanding that I'm making a difference in the world of connecting people, right? That's what we do. We connect people. And this is going to be a bit of a longer answer, but I think about it a lot, why I do what I do. Yeah, we connect people. We're connecting businesses to wonderful services and products. And we're putting bread on the table for families within that business because that business employs people and they have to pay everyone. And so at the end of the day, we're connecting people and we're helping people. That's really fulfilling for me.
Great. Great. Really love that answer, man. Great, Jesse. Yeah. It's quite unique in itself because the answer is absolutely correct. A lot of people not really think of it that way in the kind of the larger impact that they're responsible for, apart from just making the phones ring or putting the footfall onto a website. It's actually beyond that. It's about that business, especially if you're working with small, medium segment, local businesses for whom, it's all about the phone ringing and their product and services getting sold. For large scale enterprises, the game is different, but really nice. Love that approach, man.
Thank you.
Great, Jesse. Thank you so much for taking our time for this podcast. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Ranmay. I really appreciate it.